Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. A vast majority of Americans, 73%, thinks the government knows a lot more about extraterrestrials than it says. These are just some of the statistics that are compiled in this great compilation of statistics that has been put together by myvision.org, which is a group of eye care specialists that for some reason last month put out a bunch of different statistics with regard to UFOs and extraterrestrial visitors, and it's amazing some of the statistics what they say, and basically 66% of Americans, they believe that scientists know more about extraterrestrial activity than what's released to the public, and then amazingly 73% believe that the government's covering it all up, that they know more. I found that very interesting. But anyway, we're going to go through some of these statistics and then talk about it. And this is a very good report here, a very good compilation of different facts and figures with regard to UFOs and extraterrestrials and what Americans think about it. And also how many sightings are reported in every state. So I will provide a link for this, and I highly recommend that anybody that's interested in this subject should really check it out. But anyway, it's called The United States of UFOs. What's that in the sky? Well, I guess before we get going, I guess the funny thing is that, I mean, for some reason, the idea that eye care specialists are putting this out, I think that's, in a way, there's an irony to it. I mean, I guess, I don't know if they're saying that they think people are seeing things and they should go see their eye care specialist or what, but regardless of the fact, regardless of whatever the purpose was of this, why they did this, it's a treasure trove of information, and it's really good to have. It's really nice to be able to look at these statistics and see what Americans are thinking about this. But anyway, I'm going to read this. Area 51, Roswell, Close Encounters, E.T. UFOs and aliens are all around us, from the movies to beloved video games and, as of late, official reports from the Pentagon. Who hasn't looked up at the night sky and asked themselves, are we alone? But which states in the nation are having more close encounters with UFOs than others? We analyzed data from the National UFO Reporting Center database and surveyed over 1,000 Americans nationwide on UFOs, aliens, and their favorite extraterrestrial films. Here's what we found. Now, the states with the most reported UFOs, number one is California. Now, of course, California is the third largest state with regard to size, and actually, as far as population, it's the biggest. It has 38 million people. So I would imagine that's one of the big reasons why there's more sightings in California than any other state. But one of the reasons that I think there's a lot of sightings there is because it's right next to the Pacific Ocean. And as I talked about earlier this year, I think it was January or February, I did a podcast where, there was, for decades, there's been lots of reported sightings over the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California, off the West Coast, and Catalina Island, that whole area, the Channel Islands. There's always been lots of reports. In fact, that's where the David Fravor Tic Tac incident happened, out in the Pacific, on that side of the country. And so it's just been like that for years. There's a lot of different footage that's been filmed there. I believe 1966 there was some famous film footage captured of a UFO flying over the Catalina Island. So it's just been one of the hotbeds for UFOs for a long time now, and I think that I believe that somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, it seems that there's probably an alien base under there. A lot of people seem to believe that. The government, Navy ships, Navy flyers, they experience UFOs out there all the time. I mean, they experience them in other areas, other oceans too, okay? But that seems to be a hot spot. There's always been a lot of sightings throughout the years, in the Pacific Ocean, off the coast of California, off the West Coast, basically. So that's probably one of the reasons. So, maybe that's, the UFOs are flying over California more often, possibly, and they're sighted more often because they're going back and forth from their home base into whatever they're doing here on dry land. The most sightings from California over the years is 15,401 sightings have been reported. In Florida is the number 2 state that had 7,749. Washington State has 6,866. Texas, which of course is the second biggest state by with regard to size, that has 5,786. New York has 5,590 sightings. Pennsylvania, where I am, 4,730. The least amount is the North Dakota and South Dakota. Those 2 states are on the bottom of the list. There's only been 266 sightings in North Dakota and 375 sightings in South Dakota. Anyway, continuing here, it says, while some might assume Nevada, home to the so-called Area 51, might take home first prize for alien sightings, Golden, California takes the cake instead with nearly twice the amount of sightings of any other state at 15,401. According to Newfork, which has been reporting UFO sightings since 1974, the other top states include Florida, Washington, Texas, New York, and Pennsylvania. New Mexico, home to the UFO famous Roswell, comes in 28th, while Nevada takes 27th. So actually, these sightings are since 1974. So I want to make that clear. So that 15,401 in California, that's since 1974, since the National UFO Reporting Center has started to keep that kind of data. Then it talks about the UFO sightings in the last 5 years. Number 1 is actually, and this is this is different. Idaho is actually number 1. Recent years have shown a surge in UFO sightings, especially when you compare the number of reports to the state's population. There's a rise in sightings in the Pacific Northwest, Mountain West, and New England states, with Idaho sporting the highest amount of sightings in the last 5 years. Idaho is followed by New Hampshire, Montana, Vermont, and New Mexico. For the most part, it seems that aliens are avoiding going south of the Mason-Dixon. The 3 states with the least amount of sightings in the last 5 years are Texas, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Whatever the reason, whether it's better internet access or increased attention to the sky, it's clear UFOs and aliens frequent certain states. So yeah, and these sightings are, what they're talking about here is per 100,000 residents. So it's basically, so in Idaho, per 100,000 residents, of course, there's 420 sightings per 100,000 residents. And actually, California, if you go on by this one, that's a lot lower on the list. That's number 41 here. It's 2,661 sightings per 100,000 residents. So that's, of course, the reason California is number 1 as the overall is because, of course, there's more people, 38 million people that live there. And that's the most people that live in any state. And then they have a comparison comparing the last 5 years to all time, and has the percentage of UFO sightings the last 5 years compared to all time by state. Idaho, of course, this is number 1 at 32.43%. So it says here, some states are really experiencing a renaissance of UFO sightings in the last 5 years. Formerly, quiet states like Idaho and Connecticut are showing that a third of their total sightings have happened just in the last 5 years. Other states like Illinois are in a UFO dry patch. The last 5 years only account for 16% of its sightings. So basically, of all the sightings that's been reported in Idaho since 1974, 32.43% have happened just in the past 5 years. Connecticut, 29.63% happened in the last 5 years. New Hampshire, 27.72% happened in the last 5 years. Arkansas, 27.52%, and Colorado rounds out the top 5 at 27.09%. The least amount over the last 5 years is Illinois at 16.16%, Alaska at 16.53%. California is on toward the bottom of the list, 17.28% of sightings in the last 5 years. And then there's another table here that they present. It says here, the United States wants to believing in aliens. 78% of Americans believe aliens exist. That's a pretty high number. I know that number in the past was lower. More than 1 in 10 have seen a UFO or something they believe to be extraterrestrial. 33% believe the American government has captured an alien. So basically, a full third of Americans believe that the United States government has an alien in its possession, has captured one at least. You know, there's 1/3 of the country believes that. Should be more than that, but I guess I'm biased. But Area 51, most people don't believe in it, that there's anything really going on at Area 51, at least anymore. It's one of the questions asked was, are there aliens or UFOs at Area 51? 4% said yes, there are aliens. 26% said yes, there are both aliens and UFOs. But 54% said no. So, yeah. I mean, maybe back in the 80s, when Bob Lazar showed up at S4, maybe the numbers here would have been different. But right now, people don't think they're there anymore. And I honestly, I don't know about that either. I don't know if Area 51's a place where the United States government is housing alien craft, recovered alien craft or alien bodies. I think they probably found some different locations. I think there's been too much attention on Area 51 over the years, and they probably changed their approach. They probably changed their location. And here's some more statistics. 64% believe aliens know humans and Earth exist, and 56% believe aliens have been to Earth. So that's interesting. So 56% believe aliens have been to Earth. Well, I guess, that doesn't... That's interesting. So, I mean, it's more than half. Well, so over 50%. After learning about confirmed UFO sightings by United States defense officials in 2017, did it change your opinion of the existence of aliens? 7%. Actually, it affected basically 7%. When the government admitted to UFOs, 7% said yes, I went from non-believing to believing. 71% said no, I've always believed in aliens and their existence, even before the report. And 22% said no, I still don't believe in extraterrestrials. And then continuing here, it says, it looks like Special Agent Fox Mulder from the X-Files isn't in the minority anymore. 78% of Americans believe in UFOs. More than 1 in 10 claims to have seen a UFO firsthand. And a full third of Americans believe the government has captured an alien. However, there's no love for Area 51. Over half of Americans don't think there are UFOs or aliens at the legendary site, begging the question of whether there's something out there at all. Well, I just think that people are smart enough, I think, to realize that the government probably doesn't use Area 51 for those purposes anymore. I believe that's the reasoning behind that over 50% believing that there's nothing there. What about the other side? Just how does ET feel about all this? 64% of respondents believe that aliens know humans and Earth exist, and 56% believe aliens have been to Earth. Then the next chart here, they have phoning home. Contacting aliens. Okay, it's 37% of Americans think United States scientists or officials have already made contact with aliens. 43% of Americans believe we're on the brink of communicating with extraterrestrials. And then there's a question asked, how seriously do you think the government takes the prospect of UFOs and aliens? 12% too seriously, 59% the right amount of seriousness, and 29% not seriously enough. I think they take it serious. I would fall into that 59%. I don't like the cover up. That's my problem. Anyway, continuing, 76% wish officials would release more data on potential extraterrestrial activity. 66% think scientists know more about extraterrestrial activity than what's released in the public, and 73% think the government knows more than it says. That's an interesting statistic. I mean, okay, if 66 of Americans think scientists know more about extraterrestrial activity than what's released to the public, why is it only 43% of Americans believe we're on the brink of communicating with extraterrestrials? Or 37% of Americans think U.S. Scientists or officials have already made contact with aliens? So I'm curious about that. And then of course, that applies also to the 73% that think the government knows more than it says. And then you have these other numbers about contacting aliens. Well, if you think the government knows more than he says, then how come 73% believe that, but at the same time, only 37% of Americans think the United States scientists or government officials, have already made contact with aliens? Well, I guess maybe they think, it's like meeting only 37%. They looked at the question as actually meeting somewhere at some undisclosed location, close encounters of the third kind style. Maybe that's what they meant. I don't know. Anyway, continuing. It says here 32% think a human has been taken by an alien. So almost a full third believes in alien abduction. What do you think of that? Eat your heart out, debunkers. 32% of Americans believe in alien abduction. What do you think about that? 72% think aliens have more advanced technology than humans. Well, I don't know why. I'm wondering, okay, 72% or only 72% believe that? I mean, what does the other 28% think? I mean, that they don't? I guess the other 28% don't believe in aliens. That doesn't make sense to me here. I mean, again, this doesn't jibe with some of the other numbers here. If 73% think the government knows more than it says about extraterrestrials, but yet only 72% think aliens have more advanced technology than humans. Now, that doesn't make any sense, really. 72%. Because I mean the other 30, I don't understand the thinking that way. Well, I guess the only explanation is that I guess some of these people just don't believe in aliens. The 32%. I'm assuming. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because if they're coming here, obviously they have more advanced technology. They do have more advanced technology. I saw one of these things in action, so I know that for a fact. That number should be higher. Anyway, continuing, he says, have we established the first contact yet? 37% of Americans believe United States scientists or officials have made contact with aliens already, and 43% believe we are on the brink of breaking through to our extraterrestrial neighbors. There's a lot of faith in how the government is handling our potential overlords, too, as 3 in 5 Americans say the government is taking UFOs and aliens just seriously enough. The people are crying out for more information, however. Many Americans think the truth isn't fully out there. 66% believe scientists know more about ET than what's released to the public, and 73% think the government knows more than it says. It comes as no surprise, then, that 76% of Americans wish officials would release more data on aliens and UFOs. After all, more information might be the only way to even the table. 72% believe aliens have more advanced technology than we do, and 32% think that a human has been abducted by an alien. Maybe people just have vivid dreams about being abducted. Well, I know you guys are eye specialists, but maybe you should stay away from the comments about alien abduction. I'm sure a lot of abductees would tend to disagree with you. Are they friendly? Is the next chart here. Aliens and UFOs. Are they friendly? 24% are scared by the idea of aliens existing, while 23% are scared of UFOs. 41% think aliens are dangerous, and 34% think UFOs are dangerous. 81% believe aliens are intelligent. Wow. See, again, that's a higher number than some of those previous numbers. 81% believe aliens are intelligent. Well, yeah. I mean, if they're flying here from another planet, of course they're intelligent. And 24% are scared. 24% are scared of the idea of aliens existing, right? That accounts for the followers to the debunkers out there. That's where that group of people that hang on every word that people like Mick West throw out there, every tweet. They're among this 24%. They're afraid of this whole thing. That's they'll tell a pollster on a phone call, but they're not going to say that publicly. They don't want people to know. And of course, 23% are scared of UFOs. It's basically almost the same number. And then 41% think aliens are dangerous. I think I'm one of the people, I believe aliens are dangerous. Yes, I think a lot of people believe aliens are dangerous. It should be actually a lot higher than that. And 34% think UFOs are dangerous. Yeah, I think that number should definitely be higher than that because they are dangerous. Obviously there's been close calls between them and aircraft over the decades, so obviously they're dangerous in that 34%. I don't understand that one, but they're dangerous. There's no question. All of it's dead. Danger, aliens and UFOs. Both are dangerous in my book. I'm sure there's other people out there who disagree with me. Are aliens friendly? 50% say yes and 50% say no. 69% believe drones are being mistaken for UFOs. 69% believe drones are being mistaken for UFOs. Okay. I think that sometimes drones are definitely mistaken for UFOs. There's no question about it. I don't think everything that all the sightings out there, every time, of course, aren't actual extraterrestrial visitors. I would most certainly say that 69% makes sense. I think that's a reasonable number. There's definitely people that it's not just drones, right? I mean, I would imagine there's all kinds of different things that people see and they think could be extraterrestrial, and in reality, it's most likely not. I would imagine most of the things that are seen, especially things that are seen from a distance, could be mistaken for something out of this world. 88% believe there is life outside our solar system. Wow. Only 88%. That should be like in the high 90s. I'm trying to figure out who these, I mean, didn't these 12% that, I mean, I could get it. If you don't believe that aliens aren't coming here, that's one thing. But you don't think there's, I like to meet these 12%. I mean, didn't you take a look at the night sky recently, right? Didn't you check out those new telescope images recently from the James Webb? I mean, come on. There's most certainly. I mean, okay. If you don't want to accept the reality that there's extraterrestrials here, there are. Sorry to break the news to you, right? That's one thing. But if you're going to say that you don't think there's no other life outside in the solar system, you're not thinking. You don't understand how really big this whole thing is. You're just not. You're not grasping it. So maybe you should go see someone and talk to them. Maybe your local scientist, he'll set you straight. Anyway, of those who believe that there's life outside our solar system, when do you think we'll find that life? 24% we already have. Yeah, well, I'm definitely among that 24%. We already have. And again, that number really doesn't jibe with some of these earlier numbers. Really think about it. I mean, if 73% of people think that the government's hiding what it knows, and that they also 66% thinks that scientists know a lot more about extraterrestrials, how come it's only 24% who believe that we've already found extraterrestrial life? You already have. I mean, if you were to study the information, the data, if you would look at the history of this whole subject, you would understand that there's no question that that some governments of the world have been sitting on this for a long time now. They want to keep it. They've been keeping it from the public. So that number should be higher. 8% say within the next 5 years that we will find life. 10% say 5 to 10 years. 8% say 11 to 20 years. 6% say 21 to 30 years. 3% say 31 to 40 years. And then it just goes on here. 20% says in more than 100 years. And then 4% says never. So again, that's another interesting figure here. Okay, now 4% say that we're never going to find life outside of the solar system, but 12% believe there is no life outside the solar system. So that doesn't make any sense, right? I don't know. Maybe they were confused at the questions. Anyway, continuing, here's what it says here about all of this. It says, if most believe that aliens are more advanced than us, what are we to make of our potential overlords? Americans are divided as to whether aliens are friendly or not. It's a 50-50 split. What they do know, though, is that the prospect of alien invasion scares them. Over 1 in 6 are scared of an invasion. 41% think aliens are dangerous. And 1 in 4 are scared by the idea of alien existence at all. It might also be overreacting, though. 69% believe Americans are mistaking drones for something more celestial. Then again, 88% of Americans believe that there is life outside our solar system. When will we find it? 1 in 4 think we already have found it, but 1 in 5 think it'll take over 100 years. 1 in 10 think the next decade will showcase life outside of Earth. Will you be ready? And then close encounters of the cinematic kind. Now, I don't know why this doesn't really fit in with this, but I guess I'll go through it anyhow. Okay. They're talking about the most watched alien encounter movies. The number 1 is E.T., 2 is Men in Black, 3 is Independence Day, 4 is Alien, 5 is Space Jam. All right. And then the favorite alien encounter movies. Number 1 is E.T., 2 is Men in Black, 3 is Independence Day, 4 is Alien, and 5 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And there's more on these. There's a top 10 list. But again, I'm going to leave the link here for this. I think it's something for anyone who's interested in this should really check it out. And then here's one other thing they have here. More than 1 in 10 Americans think movie portrayals of aliens and UFOs are accurate. Alien encounter movies with the most accurate portrayal of aliens and UFOs. Number 1 is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Okay, even that movie, I'm going to tell you something. That's not accurate. That's not accurate. None of these movies are accurate. 2 is E.T., 3 is Arrival, 4 is Men in Black, 5 is Signs. None of these movies are accurate. 6 is Independence Day, 7 is Contact, 8 is District 9. 9 is Alien, and 10 is Prometheus. Come on, none of these movies are accurate about aliens. There really haven't been that many great movies. There was the Roswell TV movie from the 90s, early 90s, I believe it came out, and it starred Kyle MacLachlan. And it was interesting. It was good. But see, they need like an Oliver Stone type movie, right? Based to do a movie about Roswell. Something like the way he did JFK, because that would be awesome. I'd love to see a great movie about Roswell, like a really big budget theatrical experience on the big screen. Big stars. It's a story that needs to be told. The books, the information is out there. They could buy the rights to get the rights to some of these books by Donald Schmidt and Thomas Carey. Roswell case closed, the ultimate cold case closed, something like that. Get the rights to that and make a movie out of it. And actually, don't fictionalize it. The story, you wouldn't need to fictionalize it. You base it on the actual book itself. That would be totally great. That would be awesome. Oliver Stone, if you're out there listening, you want a big time movie, that's the one. That's the one you need, right there. Do one on Roswell. Yeah, I'm telling you. Be a big hit. Huge hit, especially right now. Think about it. Roswell, my gosh. Huge hit right now. It would be gigantic. Imagine.